the aspect that I learned as a young man that I never would expect that I'd get my integrity tested was as you start to look at, we would refinance anything, home loans, HELOCs, any way that we could take debt and consolidate it. And I think in our business, we know that there's opportunities to be able to do those things in a positive manner to help someone. Mm-hmm. At that time, it was much more focused on sales. How many sales can you get?
Interesting.
And so I remember my last day like it was yesterday. I did a car loan at 160% loan to value.
Wow.
28% interest rate. And there was an $1,800 cash out. And that was the benefit. And so I went to my sales manager. I was like, man, this isn't a benefit, right? He goes, no, you have to sell it because of the cash out. And I was like, I don't have to sell it. And so that's when I got my integrity tested. And that's why I say that was a defining moment for me, because that was my last day. I couldn't do it, right? And for me, I wanted to be someone that provided generational wealth, helped create generational wealth, someone that could be light versus darkness. And at the time, we were taken away from people.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am super excited for today's guest. He has 3 powerful lives all in one. He was a Division I basketball player at Elon College. Then he became a financial advisor and understood the importance of money and how that can change people's lives, specifically in homeownership. Now, he leads the diversity lending at Movement Mortgage, which helps people get into homes and strengthen and build wealth, and also specifically help students through the movement schools. So I would like to welcome Montel Watson to the show. I'm so excited to get a chance for us to sit down and talk today. I've heard you speak so many times at many of our events, and you're a rock star to all of us.
Too kind.
And I'm just excited for us to get into it. We are such a unique workplace and a unique lender. There's no other company in our industry that is like us. And
Truth.
I would love to kick things off by just, can you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself? Kind of what was it like for you growing up, and how have some of those lessons, have they motivated you to where you're at today?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on. I'm super excited to be on with you, Chris. I had a chance to spend some time with you out in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle at an event. And for everybody out there, her energy is absolutely amazing. Anytime you're around her, you will feel better after you spend some time with her. But from your question perspective, that's just funny as you mentioned, tell people a little bit about myself and how I grew up and whatnot. My mind immediately went to being in the car riding with my dad. And so I grew up in a very small town, a place called Clifton Forge, Virginia, which is Southwest Virginia, and it's very rural. We had 4 stoplights, and one of those stoplights were blinking, right? And so constant blinking. You would not be very, very small town, and you would not be surprised to see a horse and carriage, just going straight through the town. But grew up small town, very quiet, and grew up very poor. But I would have never known, right? My parents were amazing, very loving. My dad worked at the paper mill, the local paper mill. My mom worked for 30 years at Kroger's, which is a grocery store chain. And I tell you, my dad is one that really, truly instilled a belief system and a mindset. That I know you and I had conversations around mindset. Yeah. Every single day he would tell me, you must grow up and be better than me. You must be better. And I can just truly picture it and see that. And if you think about a kid, like if I were to I have 4 kids, and I say to them every single night that you're smart, you're strong, and you can do anything you put your mind to before they go to bed. And you take the other side of that, because I talked about mindset, and you take the other side of that, and if you have a kid that grows up in a different situation that's told that they aren't anything or that they'll never become anything, I think that they start to believe it. Yeah. Right. And so I will tell you, I was lucky that I grew up with a dad that really, truly instilled a strong belief system and mindset into me that I could do anything that I wanted to do, and that that he just had this vision of like, hey, you will be better than me. I want you to be better than I am, right? Which I never forget it, right? It's one of those things that as I think about my life growing up, and I played athletics. I played basketball. I was lucky to get a Division I scholarship at Elon University. And for those out there, if you like basketball, keep up with it. I got to play a lot of basketball against Steph Curry. He took a lot of my dreams away in the NCAA tournament. But the athletics aspects also drove me into the world that I'm in today, and I truly love people. I love the people side of things. I love our business because it really truly, to me, it's a parallel of athletics, right?
For sure.
In the determination aspect, the one day something's going great, then the next day you have to overcome something.
Yes.
Man, it's no better parallel. And then you start to think about the growth aspect of building relationships with real estate agents or builders. And then you start to think about the growth aspect of developing your own mortgage team. That almost is very relevant to recruiting in college athletics, right? And so there's so many different parallels of what we do today and the athletic aspect that I am very lucky and blessed that I've had that experience, and I get to carry that experience with what I do now. And being able to have the opportunity to help people with the dream of home ownership, and specifically in some of your diverse and underserved and underloved markets, is something that I'll tell you I'm truly blessed to do, and I'm so lucky to do. And I wake up every day very energized and encouraged to do it.
Well, and it's so true what you talk about with like self-limiting beliefs. When you grow up in a family where you have your parent, my parents were very similar, where they said you can become anything you want to, but not every kid. In fact, the majority of kids don't get that. And so it carries on into life. And, how did you go from Division I basketball into getting into becoming a financial advisor and learning about money? Was money talked about when you were a kid in your home, or kind of what drove you into that?
So I'll tell a little story on my dad, and then I'll tell you my story of getting into it. But so my dad, as you talk about money being talked about at home, so for my dad, he actually would get his check, he'd go to the bank and he'd cash it. And he put the cash in his pocket and said, just, getting a little walking around money, right? A little walking around money. But he did that because he didn't trust the banks. Right?
Okay.
He didn't trust the banks. And so my dad didn't trust the banks. So I got to hear that frequently.
What didn't he trust about the banks?
He just felt that the banks were going to, take advantage of him, somehow take his money in some shape, form, or fashion, right?
Okay. Yep.
So then what did I do? I went and worked for a bank. All right. So
what did
first
you
job.
think about?
Well, I mean, I think he, it's funny to have the opportunity. Where I'm from, not a lot of people go to college, right? Yeah. And so I think that he was excited about any and everything that I would do, right? And was proud for me. But first job out of college, I worked at the Stagecoach Company, right? And so I worked for Wells Fargo, first job out of college. And this is 2008 during the subprime crisis. Yes. And I was in the subprime department.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so you saw it all.
So I saw it all. And I tell you, it was a very eye-opening experience for me. Also, if you've ever heard this, Oprah's quoted saying there's 5 key moments in your life that define who you are. And my experience working there was a defining moment.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. So, coming out of college, had that opportunity, was told, hey, if you do X, you make Y, right? And I'm competitive, right? Athlete. I'd say, okay, awesome. I'm going to be the first one in, last one out. I'm going to make, hundreds of dials to be able to make sales, right? Mm-hmm. And so it was a very aggressive sales culture. But the aspect that I learned as a young man that I never would expect that I'd get my integrity tested was, as you start to look at, we would refinance anything, home loans, HELOCs, any way that we could take debt and consolidate it. And I think in our business, we know that there's opportunities to be able to do those things in a positive manner to help someone. Mm-hmm. At that time, it was much more focused on sales. How many sales can you get?
Interesting.
And so I remember my last day like it was yesterday. I did a car loan at 160% loan to value,
Wow.
28% interest rate, and there was an $1,800 cash out. That was the benefit, right? You have to have a benefit if you're going to do it. Like, you have to have a benefit, right?
28%.
28%.
Holy moly.
And yeah, I think at the time in North Carolina, that was the max interest rate that you could have. And so I went to my sales manager. I was like, man, this isn't a benefit, right? He goes, no, you have to sell it because of the cash out. And I was like, I don't have to sell it. And so that's when I got my integrity tested. And that's why I say that was a defining moment for me, because that was my last day. I couldn't do it, right? And for me, I wanted to be someone that provided generational wealth, helped create generational wealth. Someone that could be light versus darkness. And at the time we were taken away from people, right? We were taken away from people. And I knew that that's not what I wanted to do, right? I knew that's what I wanted to do. So, yeah.
And so from there, you made the decision, okay, yeah, I'm not doing another
not
day.
doing this.
That's powerful to be able to make that shift.
Yeah.
How did you come to movement?
Yeah.
What led you to
Yeah.
come here?
So fast forward, I got my Series 7, I got my Series 6, I grew a book of business, had some success. I got into a leadership development program. And during that time period, I had the chance of meeting our amazing CEO, Casey.
Yes.
His wife and my wife were CrossFitters, right? And not only just regular, but they were some of the best CrossFitters in the world. And so we would travel with them and watch them compete, and we yelled at them to pick the bar up faster.
I love
it. From there, I got to learn about movement a little bit from afar. And I remember like it was yesterday. I was in bed, and I was scrolling through Facebook, and it was a video of Casey talking about. We did a movement at the time, did a Total Money Makeover competition. So he gave every employee the Total Money Makeover book. And, the whole goal was the top 10 people who paid off debt, or the top 10 people that saved the most money during the competition period, he would give them cash. He would give them $10,000.
Wow.
And so I was showing my wife, I was like, man, how cool is this? A debt company cares enough about the employees to help them pay off debt. And I know you probably know this, and for the folks out there listening, financial strife is one of the biggest reasons for divorce, right? One of the biggest reasons for strife, anxiety, and stress. And so his thought was, if I can help my employees thrive while they're here and at home, they're just going to have a better life, right?
Yes.
When you're welcome into the movement community, we want you to not only do more business, but we want you to have a better life. We want you to be better off by being here. And I thought that was the most amazing thing, to care enough about the employees to help them pay off debt. And my wife said very kindly and very sweet, she said, why don't you stop being a punk and call Casey and try to go work a movement? And 10 years later, here I am.
I love that story.
Yeah,
because he has such a visionary. I mean, it was is an icon in our business. And I think coming from the outside and starting a mortgage company in the middle of a financial crisis, again, goes to the mindset. Having been an undrafted free agent, went on to play in the NFL and win a Super Bowl, he has no limits in his mind. It's like, well, why can't I? I can jump in and open a mortgage company in the middle of a financial crisis, because I see the opportunity to pursue the vision of making lives better for others.
That's right.
And that is what I just think is so incredible about this, our company, and truly what's been so incredibly gratifying to be a part of it, because, as a loan officer, we can close loans anywhere. But to be able to close loans in the culture that we operate in and the level that we operate in and the vibe, and to be able to have it make a difference in these communities and help people rise and become what they want to be. I mean, that's the dream, is to help others become what they want to be. I would love to have you talk about this, because you have the firsthand experience and witnessing of what we're doing out in these communities, and especially these schools with these incredible young kids.
Yeah. Well, when you start to think about our community and the culture here, we sell a commodity.
Yes.
Right? You can go get a loan, and there's 1,000 mortgage companies out there that you can go get a loan from. Or as a loan officer you can go work with,
Yes.
or as a real estate agent that you can refer to, right? There's thousands of them. For us, what makes us different, we're not aligned on a product, right? We're aligned as a community around a purpose. And we are all here aligned around purpose, and we're rowing in the boat the same direction or the same purpose. And to me, that purpose is I'm here because I'm a part of something that's bigger than myself, right? And I start to think about that. You know, I was when I was in my crossroads at being at TD Ameritrade, I thought long and hard. And I'm a mindset and vision person. Like I want to manifest what I want, and I thought a lot about being a part of something bigger than myself. Because at the time, you know, I'm helping people that already have wealth keep their wealth or grow their wealth. And I felt unfulfilled. I made great money, but I felt unfulfilled. And being here, where not only are we aligned on that mission of loving and valuing people, we put our feet to our words of doing that. And with our schools, I get to sit on the board of our movement schools and to be a part of an organization that takes their profits and pours them back into some of the most underloved places and people in the country. It's different and it's special. Right?
Yeah.
It's special.
And takes 49%. And I want to repeat that for viewers.
Yeah.
Our company takes 49%
That's right.
of the profits made on every loan. Now, our CEO would have every right to take that profit for himself. That is, he built the company, he earned it, worked really hard. But he takes 49% of the profits and says that's going in the foundation. And that funds
Our schools, yeah.
these schools. And these schools, correct me if I'm wrong, are in the most fragile,
Absolutely.
underserved, highest poverty communities.
That's right. That's right. And how we think about that is, as you, Harvard did a study on upper mobility. And within that study, it said, hey, what are the top 50 MSAs in the country? And what is the upper mobility in those cities? Which is effectively defined of like, if you're born into poverty, what is your chances of leaving poverty? Yeah. And for us, we are here. We're headquarters in Charlotte. Charlotte was one of the worst cities in the United States. And for the folks out there, if you haven't been to Charlotte, I've been here for quite some time. It is beautiful. It is growing. It is clean. But it is very segregated in the sense of the different areas of poverty amongst the city. And there is a 3% chance of leaving poverty in some of those zip codes. If you're born there, you have a 3% chance of leaving. And if we're going to love and value people and step into doing so, and this is where we're headquartered, you know, we had to do something. And, you know, Casey made a brave decision to get an education. Right, and get into helping the next generation have an opportunity to leave poverty. Right, so what's one of the best ways in doing that is through educational choice, and so we place our schools in some of the areas and in cities that have low upper mobility. And you know, Charlotte being I think was 49th on the list, and Atlanta was 50th. Right, and so we have the majority of our schools here because you know we're obviously headquartered there. We have some schools. You know, in Atlanta, Georgia, some coming in Athens, have it in Charleston, South Carolina, some coming in Raleigh, in other areas in the Carolinas. But the opportunity to be able to be a part of something bigger than yourself and help kids that you might not ever meet or might not ever see, but to help their trajectory and to help their family's trajectory, because as they grow and as they become adults, the opportunity that we have to do that is special. It's special. And then you layer on the financial empowerment, financial literacy programs that we have to teach those kids around credit, around budgeting, around savings, around what it means to own real estate, what it means to have equity. I really, truly, it's special, and I don't take it for granted at all.
It is really special. I got the opportunity to tour a movement school, and it was really it was incredible and heartwarming. Yes. And because you look at children, and you know, having a 5-year-old myself, it's these children are so pure, and they know nothing when they come in the world, and it's all what they learn and what we teach them.
That's right.
And a little kid with those kind of odds. it's not very good. But if they can get into the right education and see those opportunities,
That's right.
that's just something that's I'm just so proud to be a part of.
Great.
And it's incredible. I would love to have you talk about fear and home ownership.
Yeah.
There's, we've talked a little bit about that before. I would love to have you share with our listeners about that.
Yeah. Well, I think that, so to frame it a little bit, as we think about a lot of our diversity lending initiatives, we had we have an approach on our Black homeownership initiatives and our Hispanic homeownership initiatives. And our Black homeownership initiative is all based around our Grab the Key initiative. And a big piece of that is mindset, right? It's changing the hearts and minds of potential Black homeowners because of historical trauma, that being told that you can't own a home for a very long time. And quite frankly, we started down the road back in 2017-18 timeframe, when homeownership rates in the Black community were the same rate they were when the Fair Housing Act was passed. And Dr. King fought long and hard for that in the 60s, late 60s. And so understanding the rates are the same as they were when the Fair Housing Act was passed, when Black individuals were finally legally able to own homes, being able to step into that and understand, it's like, okay, why is that, right? And I'm a firm believer that a lot of that is historical trauma. You got to hear my dad, what I told you about my dad.
Yes.
Didn't trust the banks, right? There's a lot of unconscious bias that is passed down. There's a lot of trauma that is passed down. There's, I've been in several different cities and I talk about this, and we have community engagement events on this. There's so many individuals in the United States that still today feel that they cannot own a home, right? And I have my own personal story of this. And Casey encouraged me, the first time I told him this story, he's like, man, you need to tell your story more. More people need to hear it, because I believe that, a lot of people feel the same way. And I was like, you're right. So whenever I went to buy my first home, I was loan officer, Series 7, 66 license. You got to hear that. But when I went to buy my first home, I probably seen 30 different homes. And every single time I looked at a property, I made up each and every excuse not to get that property, right? Not to buy it. And, me and my wife she had it with me. She had it. And we seen a property that was absolute no-brainer. In real estate, location is always a big thing.
Yes.
This property was right beside the Carolina Panther Stadium.
Oh my God.
And man, right in the middle of everything, growing neighborhood. And the home was, we bought the home for $212,000. But I made every excuse not to buy the home. And as we were leaving out of that property, I was like, no, I don't want to get this one. I don't like the color of the home. My wife goes, no, we are getting, and I'm not going to say the exact words she said, but we're getting this house, right?
It's like, enough.
I've had enough. We're getting this one. And I tell you, a big part of that was my fear. Yeah. As you said the word earlier, it was my fear that I was going to be turned down. I knew how to get people qualified. I was Series 7, 66. Like, I knew that I would be qualified, but I had this deep fear that I was going to be turned down. So I didn't even want to start the process. I didn't even want to start. And I see it way too often across the country of so many people that are afraid. They're just afraid, Chris. They're afraid to start the process because they think they're going to be told no. And so a lot of what we try to do is change the hearts and minds of people to let them know that there are people out there that want to help you, that have the products to help you, and also have the heart to partner with you to help you experience the dream of homeownership. And so that fear is an aspect that, there's all the, the technicals and the products and et cetera. But if you can get over that fear on what's on the other side of that, man, it's the homeownership changes lives. It changes lives.
It does. And we know that a person that buys a home is going to have 40 times the wealth.
That's right.
Than a person who just keeps their money in a bank account and rents and basically buys the landlord's house for them.
Yeah, you spot on.
And yes, I think fear is huge because it's a deeply personal transaction, very personal. Credit's personal, money's personal. And the thought that, oh my gosh, am I going to be denied? Am I not? And I think your story is really powerful because you had the money knowledge. You have the financial knowledge more so than 90 some odd percent of people. And yet it was still scary.
Still scary.
And you stepped into that. Now, when you stepped into that and bought that house, how did that feel? And how did that change your perspective on future homeownership?
Yeah. So that was a unique situation because so I buy the house and I'd say maybe 3 to 4 months in, there was a guy that knocked on my door and asked me to buy my house cash for around just a little bit shy of $100,000 more than I bought it for.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, wow. Right. That was the eye opener for me.
Jeez, yes.
Right. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. All right. And so it opened my eyes. And from that moment on, I was like, wow, like real estate is so powerful. It's so powerful. So we bought that house. We put probably $30,000 into it while living through it. And I tell you, if you're married and you live through renovations and you make it on the other side of it, you're going to be together forever, right?
Yes, totally. Yes. It will test the marriage.
It will test
sure.
you.
Yes.
And so we did a full-on renovation. Full-on renovation. I'm talking about gutted the place.
Wow.
And we end up selling the home 2 years later because we, had started a family, had kids. My wife was pregnant with our second kid, Mercy. And at that time, we were outgrowing the space. And so we put it on the market, and it sold so fast and sold for, almost $300,000 more than what we bought it for in 2 years. 2 years.
2 years. 2 years.
After we put $30,000 into it.
Yes.
You guys out there can do the math, right? Yeah. That's a phenomenal,
it's a big ROI.
Phenomenal return.
Big ROI.
And not every situation is like that, but after that I was like, okay, all right, I need to have more properties, right? I need to do this more. And so, I've had the opportunity to own around, 8 properties. And I love it. I love it. And I'm thankful that I'm involved in real estate, involved in the mortgage industry. And I think it is, it's one of the best ways to grow wealth.
Oh,
plain and simple.
100%. I mean, especially like with rental properties too, because, you can invest in the markets and the markets are great, but if you go back in history and statistics, there's only one stock in the last 50 years.
That's right.
That's outpaced real estate. And it's a complete anomaly. And it's Amazon because it's a momentum stock. But real estate outpaces everything on ROI. And it's, no doubt. Absolutely no doubt.
We're not building any more land.
Yes, we need more land
right.
to build. Yes. So as a dad now with kids, how are you shaping your conversations with your kids around money and finance to kind of bring them up from a young age to be ready, to be homeowners, when they're ready?
So we have this system at our house where each of my 4 kids, there's these magnet jars that we have on the fridge. And then we hang these bags that have this like little, think of it as like little coins. And we equate the coins to dollars.
Okay.
And so anytime that they do something, let's say they do their homework, they go outside and they do their sports for a certain amount of time, and every situation or everything has a dollar equivalent, right? And so, or reading, or doing their chores, they get to be paid. After so much, they can decide to save their money up and buy something big, or they can spend it. They can spend it as they get it, right?
Yeah.
And so that has been it's so great to see all of our kids' personalities around money and the way they're spending and saving habits, because we're all have different personalities around it.
Different relationship.
Different relationship with money.
Yeah.
And my kid is my oldest, his son is very economically driven.
Okay.
Extremely economically driven.
Okay.
He is pretty much a salesperson in the making.
Okay.
Very economically driven, very personable, very persistent, extremely persistent, will negotiate everything, but he also wants to spend his money as soon as he gets it, right?
Interesting.
And that's his personality.
Yes.
My oldest girl, Mercy, not as outgoing as him, a little bit more quiet and reserved, still economically driven, but she wants to save her money.
Yeah.
She wants to save to buy, like she has something very, in mind. Like, I don't know if you out there, Labubus. It's like one of the popular things right now, little stuffies, but she wants to save to get a Labubu. All right.
Okay.
And my son he'll spend it as soon as the money goes in his jar. He's ready to spend
burning a hole
it.
in
It's
his
burning
pocket.
a hole.
Okay.
And so so we've definitely worked with them on that, and we've tied it into their chores. And it's actually just that the habits that they've built, not only from a money aspect to learn around it, but also the habits, like some of the habits they built that we've struggled with as parents to try to help them with, as in, we have struggled to get our kids to, as soon as they're done eating, to put their plates up. It has been a struggle. Now, no longer struggle, because they get paid to do it. They get paid to do it, right?
There's an incentive.
It's an incentive, and they do it. And now they just automatically do it. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to say it 5 and 6 times. And then on the other side of it, they start to understand, okay, if I spend all my money, like, gosh, I don't have any more money. I gotta work. I gotta go to work and do the things I need to do to get money. Also, if I save versus buying something right now, I can get something bigger. So we're working through a lot of those, and it's been very interesting to see their personalities, and also it's been fun. It's been fun. So,
Yeah.
I encourage people to try that at home. It's fun if you have kids, if you have younger kids.
I think it's fantastic. Now, in the movement schools, like I had heard when you came out and did the event with us, our goal in the next 10 years is 100 movement schools, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
So
That's correct.
10 schools on average a year. What locations, kind of what areas are we looking to do those in?
Yeah, so
That's a big goal.
Big goal. So with the schools, the interesting aspect. So first and foremost, we have put together our leadership team. KTT, who is absolutely amazing.
So inspiring.
And has done some amazing work with other charter schools that have had success, and specifically in, some of your tougher areas and like your larger MSAs in cities like, Brooklyn and in the New York and Northeast area. But she is our leader and has helped us with growing as we've grown so far. Right. And so the plan is because a part of the difficulty of actually scaling is the local government, right? Is the local education system, and understanding what are the places that are actually very welcoming from a charter perspective, and what are some of the places that are not, and trying to navigate a little bit of that. But we have no better person in doing so. And we obviously are in the Southeast right now, and trying to build out that regionally. And then we'll start to, as you see, like where we have our footprint from a movement perspective, and start to grow that. So hopefully we look to see something out in the Pacific Northwest, right? Yeah.
Love it. I would love to see some movement schools out there.
Yeah.
Yes. And on the programs, like for the kids, like with the financial programs, like, can you tell me a little bit about in the curriculum that you're teaching, like what types of things are being taught to these kids about finances?
Yeah, so our Grab the Key Junior program, it's an 8-week financial empowerment program that teaches a little bit of everything of the relationship with money, the behaviors with money. As I mentioned earlier, credit, budgeting, saving, also understanding credit cards. I think that's a big piece from a youth perspective. And, I know for me, when you went to college, I mean, the credit card companies were lined up to get you to get a credit card, right?
Yes.
And so just to understand credit, understand debt, understand, good and bad debt. So everything in the ethos of financial literacy and financial empowerment, it's packed into an 8-week program for the kids to learn, and have a good relationship with money.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, and that's the thing it's not taught a lot in schools for the most part. It really isn't. And it's so important because kids get out into the world. They don't know how to open up a checking, a savings account, and open up a credit card and get credit.
Right.
What would you say one thing that you would love for like a teenager or young person to know, what's one thing you wish you would have done when you were younger that you would say to like a younger person, hey, financially do this?
Yeah. I go back to, real estate is so powerful. And I've seen so many younger folks get engaged and involved in real estate, but starting to invest your money and let your money compound at a very early age is something that I would encourage a lot of folks to do. I was lucky enough, like, whenever you get a job and you get the 401k programs, some people, not all people actually take advantage of that, right? They don't take advantage of the match, the match dollar. I would max out your match dollar without question. That is free money, right? That is free money. And it was hard to do that because it's like, hey, you want that money in your bank account?
Yeah.
You want to be able to have access to that money when you to move to and fro, but that is matched dollars. It's not too many times that you're going to get, free money, dollar for dollar. So I would encourage folks as they, to invest their money without question and learn the basics, just the basics. You don't need to, I think that from being in the investment advisory world, I think there's a lot of like fancy strategies and fancy, verbiage and language and, all kinds of different aspects that actually scare people away from the financial investing world, where if in all trueness, it boils down to risk and reward and understanding your risk tolerance, understanding your timeline.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And how you allocate those assets that's based on those, your timeline and your risk tolerance. And then being in it for the long, especially the younger kids, if you're in it for the long haul, put your money in there. And then the next thing is, real estate.
Yes.
Real estate.
Yes.
How can you get involved and engage in real estate? And it's a lot of ways to do it. I got one quick story and I'll put a pin in this, but there was a young lady that went to one of our Grab the Key community engagement events that ended up messaging me, some months later, and we had it at one of the HBCUs, the historically black colleges, and she came out. She was still in college. She graduated, a few months later, and she got a property. And she messaged me and was like, "Hey, I just want to let you know I was so encouraged on, coming to the Grab the Key event. I went and bought a property, and now my mom's getting pre-approved."
Oh my gosh.
And she surprised her mom. She bought the property. She got an offer letter, got her job, got a property, showed her mom, and her mom broke down crying because her mom had never owned a property. She had never owned a property, and her daughter bought a property before she did. And so then she's like, if you can do it, I can do it. Right. And so don't think that just because you're younger that you can't.
Yeah.
Right. There's so many different, real estate is a fun, it's just a fun industry and segment and piece of people that is so many different ways to capture real estate, right? It's so many different ways.
There is, and people don't realize that there's so many incredible programs designed to help people get into homeownership. And we see even in present day where, even in more expensive markets where people kind of co-buy, where, two siblings or, two good friends will go in together and buy a house. If it's a more expensive, the point is jumping in. It's not timing the market. It's time in the market.
Time in the market.
It's getting that money invested, like you said, letting it work for you, keeping it moving, making it work harder for you than you did for it, and then getting into the home because you got to live in a place.
Gotta live.
And you might as well be paying your mortgage
versus someone else's,
versus buying the house for the landlord. That's the part that kills me when I'll talk to people and they say, well, I think I'm just going to wait and rent another year. And it's like, yeah, you're just buying your landlord another year of their house. Really. It's crazy. I agree with you. What would you say is one of the, you shared a great story just there. What would you say is another kind of a story that has just tugged at you, you will always remember that made you go, God, this is why I do what I do?
Oh man, there's so many different stories. I mean, there's endless stories, the one I just told there, stories of people that have gone from incarceration to homeownership. There's stories of individuals that have come out to one of our Grab the Key events. And it was one individual that he was a nurse. He's actually in the building today. He was a nurse, and he was almost like at his wit's end of just emotionally, being a nurse, and just like, man, he wanted something different. And he ended up coming to an event, and he didn't become a loan officer, but he became an agent. And he is now a very high producing agent that he ended up partnering directly with Movement.
Okay.
Because he was like, the passion that you guys have for helping the Black community from a homeownership perspective. He's like, I come into your event, I knew that I had to be involved in some shape, form, or fashion. And I thought it was such a cool, it was the other side of it where he didn't become a loan officer or go get, his first home. He became an agent.
Yes.
And then had a positive influence on the community, and then decided I'm going to partner with Movement on all of my transactions. But that was another really, really cool, story. But the list goes, I mean, it's on and on and on of, people that have, we've had some of the parents, at our schools that never thought that they could own homes, and hearing about, going to our Movement schools, not understanding the Movement mortgage aspect, but learning. And then going and, we had one situation where it was one of the scholars' dads who had been turned down from 2 other lenders, and he found out that Movement mortgage was a part of Movement schools, found a loan officer, and then was able to buy his first property. And so there's, I mean, this, you're in the industry long enough. There's so many different amazing stories that we could probably do that for.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's so gratifying. That's what makes it fun.
It's great.
And the people, but I think what's so different and what's just so incredible about our company is just the fact that we don't just do a transaction.
Right.
We're actually giving back to the communities and the agents we partner with and the financial advisors and the partners, the referrals and the families can feel good about working with us. That's because their mortgages truly mean more.
That's right.
Because it's not just it's not just at the end of the day the profits being pocketed. The profits are going back into these communities, which just lifts everybody up.
That's right.
And it's incredible. It really
couldn't agree more.
Montel, it has been incredible talking to you. Like I mentioned to the viewers, like he's a rock star to us, and what we are doing at Movement, it just touches all of our hearts, and it's why we love being a part of it. But real estate is absolutely such an important wealth vehicle for people, and I have just loved talking with you. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I know that our viewers are going to get some incredible tidbits out of this. As always, please reach out to me with any questions, and please like, follow, and subscribe.